Okay, welcome guys. I'm really actually pleased to be here today. So thanks to Corey, Dale and Thomas for setting this up. So today I'm going to be talking about automating the software deployment lifecycle with Chocolatey, Jenkins and PowerShell. So the purpose of this is really to get from packages being submitted to packages being deployed on your end nodes, all automated. So we'll go through that today. So just a really quick word on who I am. My name is Paul Broadwith and I'm from Glasgow in Scotland. I've got almost 30 years experience in IT in just a huge number of different sectors. And I've been a freelancer since about 2001. I'm lead engineer on the Chocolatey Box Starter and Chocolatey Chocolatey resource. I'm an MVP and I'm also the founder member of the Scottish PowerShell and DevOps user group. So today, what I really want to dig into is, before we go into all the automation bit, give you some basics, some fundamentals. A lot of people will probably already be familiar with this stuff, but for those of you who are not, this gives you a chance to understand where we're coming from. And even if you are, it'll give you kind of a brush up in what we're talking about. So we're going to look at what Chocolatey is to begin with, and where it came from. And we're going to look at one of the important things is Chocolatey Sources, because of what we're talking about today with the automation of the deployment lifecycle. It's important to understand Chocolatey Sources. And also, the next thing is another fundamental of it, which is internalizing packages, bringing packages down from another source, in our case, chocolatey.org, and bringing all of the components of that package, all of the binaries, etc., bringing them all into the package so that that can be transportable. It's a kind of single unit package that doesn't have any dependencies on the internet. And we're also going to look at the recommended organizational architecture, what Chocolatey recommends that you use. And finally, just common scenarios where this automation would help you out. So this talk is actually based on a blog post. The blog post you can find there. So that blog post wasn't written by me, it was written by someone else, and they asked for me to host it on my blog, so I did that for them. It's also based on a workshop that myself and Gary Park, who's a senior software developer at Chocolatey, gave at WinOps in London last year. So what is Chocolatey to begin with? So that's a lot of text. I'm not going to read it to you. But effectively, if you've used Linux, if you used Mac, you'll be familiar with package managers. Linux has about 1 billion of them, but the most common ones are apt-get, yum, and pacman. And so if you've used them, you've used a package manager, because Linux is kind of fundamentally built on them. You can't really use Linux without them to any great extent. If you're using a Mac, you'll have probably be familiar with Homebrew, and that's the brew command. So Mac users have had Homebrew for quite a while. Linux has had package manager since probably day dot. I don't know how far it goes back, but certainly far, far back. So Windows users have not had that. Traditionally, we would install software by downloading the binary, the executable, the installer, whatever you want to call it, double-clicking it, clicking next, 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 finish. You know the usual routine. And when you want to update that software, you've got to pretty much do the same thing over again. So from a Windows user's point of view, Chocolatey is a bit like magic. I still find it amazing that I can run Chocolatey, I walk away, come back, and all of the software is updated on my machine, or it's installed some software that I've set it off to do. And it's come to the point now where I will actually not use software I have to download from a website and click the next all the time. I'll either try and create a Chocolatey package for it, or if that's not possible, I'll actually just look for something else. And that's what's kind of happening. We're finding vendors as well are using Chocolatey to distribute their software, so people are seeing the benefits, and organizations and companies are seeing the benefits of it as well. So the fundamental tenet of Chocolatey, it's really, really important to understand this, particularly when you're looking for the solutions to particular problems. Chocolatey manages Chocolatey packages. So if you take the Firefox package, which will install the Firefox browser, Chocolatey will manage the Firefox package. And the Firefox package will manage the Firefox setup installer. Okay. Chocolatey doesn't manage this Firefox setup installer. There's no circumventing this line here. Chocolatey will only ever manage the package. It'll uninstall the package, it'll install the package, and it's the package's responsibility to install, uninstall the actual software, as I said, in this case, Firefox. So that's a really, really fundamental part to understand. So the tools that we're going to look to use today for what we want to do. We're going to use Chocolatey for internalising those packages, and it is Chocolatey for Business we're going to use because Package Internalizer is a Chocolatey for Business feature. So that's a licensed feature. We're going to look at internal package repositories. We are going to use Chocolatey Server, and I'm going to have to stress a couple of things before the Chocolatey people are going to jump up and down. The Chocolatey Server is only to really be used for proof of concepts. Okay, we do not recommend it's used in production. For this demo, it's actually really, really ideal. I can get this Chocolatey Server set up in a couple of minutes. I've got a script to do that. But Chocolatey Server is also called Simple Server, and it's called Simple Server for a reason. It's incredibly simple. So we recommend you don't use it. But for things like this, for this demo that I'm using today, this is what we're going to use. The automation code, what else would we use? PowerShell, of course. So that's ideal for that. Chocolatey loves PowerShell. Chocolatey Server doesn't love anything, but Jenkins loves PowerShell as well, so we're okay with that. So we're going to use Jenkins as the automation manager, the bit that sits there, the glue that holds it all together. So Chocolatey package sources, important to understand that Chocolatey packages have to come from somewhere. So Chocolatey for Business, that comes with 2 Chocolatey sources by default. Now the first one's called Chocolatey, and it's the Chocolatey community repository at chocolatey.org. And the other repository that it comes with out of the box is chocolatey.licensed. Now that holds Chocolatey licensed packages. So as a business user, there are certain packages that are available to you that add additional features to Chocolatey. That's where you get your additional features for Chocolatey for Business. So they come from that repository. So I mention it there just because it's there, and you're probably going to ask the question, what's it for? That's what it's for. But that's as much as we're going to talk about it today. The Chocolatey source is the important one for this demo today. But you can also add your own sources. So it would be not very good if you had to use the Chocolatey community repository for everything. And we'll come to actually see why you shouldn't in a couple of slides. But you can also add your own sources. So Chocolatey requires a NuGet version 2 repository. Okay, Chocolatey is based on the NuGet framework, so that's why it requires NuGet version 2 repository. And there are lots and lots of those repository managers out there that will give you a NuGet version 2 repository. But you can also use a local folder. That's a bit like Chocolatey Server. Don't use it in production. It's got limited functionality. It doesn't give you the rich functionality you get from a repository manager. But again, for a proof of concept, it's really simple to set up. The demo environment I've set up today, and all the demo environments I ever set up, are set up from local packages that run on that sit on my machine. And when I spin up the virtual machine on my machine, it takes all the Chocolatey packages from there. So I can actually build environments without use of the internet. And that's actually really, really important when you're going about doing talks. You don't know what the Wi-Fi is like. So you can use a local folder. But we recommend you use an actual fully fledged repository manager. And the 3 that we've listed there, Sonatype Nexus, Artifactory, and ProGet. Now, the reason we actually recommend the 3 of them is because that's the vast majority of what the vast majority of Chocolatey customers are actually using. So Sonatype Nexus, just to give you a rundown of them, as Adil says, don't use Chocolatey Server. I can see that in the chat, absolutely right, Adil. But yeah, the Sonatype Nexus has a free and a paid for option, okay? And the free option actually gives you a NuGet version 2 repository. So you can actually stand up a Nexus repository for free and be able to use it with Chocolatey. Excuse me. Artifactory is actually a paid-for option, and you get a trial with that, but it does support a huge number of other repositories, like Nexus, but far more than Nexus. It will support things like Vagrant repositories natively, Docker repositories, etc. ProGet, I can't say too much about. Something that is one of the repository managers I simply haven't used, but we do have a number of customers that use that as well. But we also have at Chocolatey something called quick deployment environment. Now, we talked there about Sonatype Nexus, and that you can get that up and running really quickly, and it's free. The quick deployment environment we actually make available to our customers has Nexus on there, it has Jenkins on there, and it comes pre-populated with a number of commonly used packages as well. And you can stand all of that up in a couple of hours. If you're a Chocolatey customer, just reach out to sales. They can get that sorted out for you. If you're not a Chocolatey customer and you're interested in taking that for a trial, then do that as well. This isn't a sale pitch. I'm just making you aware that that is actually there as well. So first demo, we're going to look at Chocolatey Sources, and I'm going to show you what we've got in our environment. So make that a bit bigger. Hopefully everybody can see that. And we're just going to have a look at the repositories that we've got installed here just now. So we've got the Chocolatey repository, as I mentioned there. And I've got local. Now that is that local folder that I talked about that's on my machine that I use for demo environments. We've also got Chocolatey licensed. That's because we're using the Chocolatey for Business version, and that repository, that source, comes out of the box with that. So I want to show you again very briefly the folder that I use for the local packages. Now they're all there. Okay. That's all the packages I've got installed. Sorry, all the packages I've downloaded and put onto my machine that I use for demos, etc. So it's just to let you see that you can actually do that. Now we've got a test repository. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a simple Chocolatey server installed on here, also called Simple Server. And we've set up two repositories. We've set up a test repository and a production repository. And we'll come to show you how they fit into this whole thing in a few slides. So I'm just going to add them into Chocolatey. That's all I'm going to do so that Chocolatey is aware of them. And there we go. So if we look at the source list again, you'll see we've got Chocolatey still. We've still got local. We've still got the Chocolatey licensed as well. But we've now got test repo and we've got prod repo as well. Okay, and they're on localhost on this machine. Now, before we go and do any more of the demo, I want to make sure that you know that there's no packages installed in either of these repositories. It's not installed, sorry, contained in these repositories, because we're going to put packages in there. So I don't want it to look like smoke and mirrors. There is actually nothing in there. Okay, so that was quite a simple demo of what Chocolatey Sources were. So internalizing packages, we've talked about that. It's a Chocolatey for Business feature. But what is package internalization? What does it do? Well, as I mentioned, package internalization is a process of internalizing a package, as simple as that. And what it does is when you go and install Firefox, for example, the Chocolatey will go and download the package from chocolatey.org. Now, the package just contains the metadata and the installation and uninstallation scripts that install and uninstall the actual software, Firefox in this case. So that's quite a small package. So it brings that down. It then runs that Chocolatey install PowerShell script, and that script will go away, and or the code will make Chocolatey go away and bring down the Firefox setup.exe from the Mozilla servers at runtime, install it, and everything's great. That's wonderful. But it's a good idea to be able to bring down that Mozilla, that Firefox setup.exe from Mozilla, and bring down the Chocolatey package and keep it within your organization. So put it all into the same package, and that package then is a transportable, a portable thing that you can give to somebody else, and they can install that with Chocolatey without any connection to the internet. So you can use it on air-gapped networks, for example, or sort of secured networks that traditionally would only have certain outbound routes allowed. Now, we recommend that organizations disable the default sources. So we disable the chocolatey.org source. And the reason being, there's 4 reasons there that we've got. We've got reliability is the first one. As I mentioned, when you're internalizing a package, you've got to go away, or sorry, installing a package, you've got to go away and get the package. You've got to go away and get the setup.exe from Mozilla if it's Firefox. And if either of those servers go down, because you're not in control of them, there's nothing you can do, then suddenly you can't deploy software in your environment. So reliability is a big issue. There is no SLA for chocolatey.org. There is no SLA for Mozilla servers. If it's Google Chrome, there's no SLA for them either, and etc., etc. So that's one of the reasons we recommend you disable it and internalize your packages. Trust is another one. I'm a maintainer of 100-something packages. There's a number of maintainers actually on the chat today. I seen Maurice was there, for example, and Manfred is on there. They are all maintainers of packages, but you don't know any of them. Okay, we're all lovely, wonderful people, but hey, so is everybody else. We're no different, and you really don't know us. So trust can be an issue. We might write PowerShell code that is not up to the standards of your organization, but will be up to the standards of chocolatey.org, because when you submit a package to chocolatey.org, it goes through a validator service, which validates the metadata, the NewSpec file within that package. It also goes through a verifier, which installs and uninstalls that software. It gets submitted to VirusTotal, and the results of those submissions, those antivirus detections, are actually put on the package page. And a human moderator will moderate the vast majority of packages as well. Not all of them. Some packages are trusted because we have trusted maintainers, and they are not human moderated, but the vast majority are. So we do all of that work, but that work might still not meet your standards. So you have to be confident that what the packages that you're internalizing, the code meets your standards, etc., etc. So trust is an issue. Bandwidth is another one. Again, I'm going back to the example. You install Firefox, you're downloading the package, you're downloading the setup for two separate places. If you're doing that for 1,000 nodes, that's 1,000 times each of them. That's a lot of bandwidth that you're consuming. If you internalize that, those 1,000 nodes will actually reach out to your internal repository and pull it down from there, so no going out to the internet at all. There's also copyright restrictions. We could embed the package for Mozilla's Firefox inside the Chocolatey package, but we've got two problems there. First of all, we don't have rights to do so, so that's going to be a problem. And secondly, Mozilla probably wouldn't be very happy if we did that as well. So as a public resource, we don't have that option, but you as an organization do have that option. You're able to internalize that and bring all those packages into your internal system, internal organization. So also the reason I was just turning my nightlight off there, which just suddenly came on. It's what, 9 p.m. here in the UK. So the slides were probably going quite dim. But anyway, using the Chocolatey default Chocolatey source, it's also subject to rate limiting and excessive download limiting. Now, rate limiting, what that does is if you try and download 10 packages or 10 of the Chocolatey package 10 times in a minute, or 30 or any other package within a minute, you'll be what's called rate limited. And that what happens is that you're blocked for an hour, because what we want to do is make sure Chocolatey is available for everybody and not the few. If you're being very aggressive when you're downloading, then that's going to impact other users. So that's what rate limiting and why that's in place. In excessive download limiting, we do that once a month. We look at the number of downloads from an IP address, and we will actually block that IP address if it's been excessively downloaded packages. What happens there is the organization would then reach out to us, and we would then sort that out with them, and using the recommendations that we're going to discuss today. But also, just to make everybody aware, we don't use that as a lever to sell licenses to people, because there are other options rather than internalizing packages for organizations that when they hit that excess of download limit or the rate limit. So it's not being used to actually sell Chocolatey. So as we kind of talked about, the package internalizer will automatically internalize not all the packages. It won't internalize everything. It'll internalize the vast majority of them. One of the packages is Java. It wouldn't internalize Java. If you go and have a look at the Java package, there are many, many of them. But the JRE and I think it's the JDK package, the main ones, then you will find, as soon as you open those packages up and look at the install and the install script, actually, you will see why it can't internalize them. It's incredibly fast, as we'll go to have a look in the next demo, and we should be able to internalize a package in about 10 seconds. If you're going to have to do that manually, it takes an awful lot longer. It means as well you don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're creating packages, because you can actually use the skill and the blood, sweat and tears that maintainers have put into creating packages from a Chocolatey community repository. So they've already done all the work for you, so why would you have to reinvent that and redo all that work? Just internalize what they've already done. And automation, if you do this manually, if you manually internalize all your packages, which you can do, you can't use that as part of an automation pipeline. A human factor in the middle of that doesn't work. So let's have a look at demo 2. Let's get rid of these controls. So demo 2 is about internalising a package. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the launchy package. It's quite an old package, but it's fairly small. That's what we want to do. We don't want to spend too much time downloading packages. We want to be able to get into this and look at them as quickly as possible. So we've downloaded that. And there it's there. Now, the important bit, there's no spec file there. We're not interested in that. What we're interested in is this Chocolatey install file. Now, it's the other reason I use this package is incredibly simple. It has one line of text. Now, if we want to internalize this package, we'd need to change the Chocolatey helper. We'd need to change the URL. And there'd be a couple of other things we'd probably want to change as well. But at the moment, what we're interested in is this URL here. Just remember that that's downloading from the launchy website. Okay. And when we come to internalize that, that'll be changed. Oh, so now we're going to download and internalize it at the same time. If I can highlight stuff, it would help. There we go. So this isn't just downloading it now, it's downloading and internalising it, bringing that launchy.exe from there, you can see down here, and putting it inside the package and changing the package so that it will still work. This is where the speaker, there we go. Normally starts panicking, things don't move. It's actually taken quite a while to download. It's only 4.34 megabytes. It's probably because of the stream. When I did this earlier on, and as a dry run, make sure everything was working, it took 9.7 seconds the second time. I think it was about 11 or 12 seconds the first time. This is obviously going to take considerably more. It's always the way. Don't know whether I should sing a little song or something. Maybe check the chat, see if there's any questions. Dancer Jig. I'm not on video, Adele. I don't think that would actually work. But that maybe next time, if it's slow next time, then that's what I'll do. So I'm actually scared to look at the time this time. I do promise you the first time was 11 or 12 seconds, and the last time was exactly 9.7 because I remember it. This one was 75 seconds. However, having said that, if you try and internalize this package in 75 seconds, you're really, really a robot. So we're going to look at, where did it put it? Launchy auto. There it's there. So there's the executable there. Okay, so it's downloaded that and put that into the files folder. And it's changed this Chocolatey install.ps1 file. And as you can see, that URL has gone that it downloads from. And what it's saying now is take it from the files folder in the kind of root of where the package is. It's added a checksum in there. I think checksum was in there previously. So there you go. So it's changed all that and embedded that within the package itself as well. So that's what internalization does. And I was going to say you can see how quickly that went, but it didn't go quickly that time. But it went quicker than you'd be able to do it manually. So Chocolatey recommended organizational architecture because, as Rob Reynolds always says, every organization is a snowflake. Snowflake's one of his favorite words. And there is a bright light coming up. We've got dark blue throughout all these slides. This next couple of slides are actually bright white, so maybe shield your eyes. So there we go. This is the recommended architecture diagram for Chocolatey. It looks incredibly complicated when you're looking at it at first. It's not really. Most of it is what you would have within your organization anyway. And I'm going to simplify even more because there's only 3 parts that we're interested in this demo. And it's these bits here. It's actually mainly 2 parts. The top bit there is where your binary downloads come from. In the case of Firefox, that'll be the Mozilla servers. The Chocolatey community repository is where the Firefox package would come from. The package internalizer is what we're going to look at, and that's the Chocolatey for Business feature. And there we've got, if you see on the blue box at the bottom, we've got test and production. Self-service part of production, but test and production is the important bit, because the package internalizer, if you follow the flow, will download the binary in the package into the package. It'll be downloaded into the package internalizer. A package will created. It'll push that package to test. The test, as you would probably imagine, tests the package. And as we're going to do here, we're just going to do a simple install and uninstall, really straightforward. But you can get much more complicated. I've actually got a version of this talk where I do with Azure DevOps artifacts feeds rather than a feed on the machine itself. And we use a machine in Azure to do the testing for us. So it's slightly more complicated. So we're connecting through WinRM from here up to the machine, installing, uninstalling, and getting the results back from that. But your test environment could include test servers, test machines, test departments. For example, you might want to push it out to the IT department first, and then everybody can say, yeah, that's working fine, and then you would put it out maybe to finance and personnel and all the other departments after that. Or you could have just a suite of pester tests, whatever you want to do. We're going to do it very simply, but that's up to you. But once that's passed those tests, it's pushed to production. And production from there, as we can see in the last slide, will actually push the packages. It won't push the packages, sorry, it will make those packages available to your managed servers, your clients, etc. So we're going to go on demo 3, and demo 4 is actually right after this as well. So demo 3 is actually just looking at the Jenkins code. Now, what I don't want to do is spend a great deal of time going through it, mainly because this code will all be available. But I just want to show you it's just normal PowerShell, okay? Nothing fancy. So I'm just going to really quickly go through the actual scripts. Now, what these scripts are is they'll actually run from the Jenkins job. So there's a little bit of PowerShell code in a Jenkins job, but it's mainly wrappers for these scripts that actually do all the kind of heavy lifting. So this particular script converts what comes out of Chocolatey list into objects that we can manipulate in PowerShell. So it's really useful, and it makes our job in the other scripts a lot easier. Get updated package. That will get an updated package from chocolatey.org. Sorry, I'll go back and say that again. What it will do is it will compare what you have in your test repository with what's on chocolatey.org, and then pull those packages down that are updated. So let's say you've got an old version of Firefox, there's a new version of chocolatey.org, it'll actually pull that down, and then Jenkins will then start pushing it through the pipeline that we're going to look at later. Again, just all PowerShell code. Internalize Chocolatey package, it's just a wrapper around Chocolatey package internalizer. That's all it does. Some nice text there, and kind of lets us put it into correct paths and that kind of stuff, just to make sure that it's more stable for us to work with within Jenkins. Testing package is actually a Pester script. That's the one I was talking about, the really simple script which will test the install and uninstall of Chocolatey. There it's there, Choco install and Choco uninstall. And then update production repository from test will actually compare what's in production with what's in test, and anything that's in test and not production, it will then test by using the Pester script I looked at, and then push it to production. So that's fairly straightforward for there. So we're going to go on to the demos now, the kind of main demos with Jenkins. These are always the ones that make me uneasy, particularly as I had to write all of the scripts for this again today because they had disappeared. So that was a bit of a panic moment. I have been through this a couple of times and it's worked perfectly, but sod's law and the demo gods may say otherwise. So first thing we'll do is we'll just again confirm what's in these repositories, and I'll just open this up so it's clear up. Okay, so we've got nothing there. So what I want to do is go into Jenkins and I want to internalize OpenSSH. The devs have come to you. They want SSH installed on their machines, OpenSSH, because they've heard that Joey is sad and they want to make Joey happy again. And they think that installing OpenSSH will actually turn sad Joey into happy Joey. So that's all we're going to do there. The code, again, for these Jenkins jobs will all be available. I'm not going to go through the PowerShell code in it. As I said, it's just wrappers. What we've got set up in Jenkins is some environment variables, and we've got 3 jobs, which I'll come to in just a second. You just see me with the first one. So all that does is that will internalize this package and push it to the test repository. And we'll have a look at the output from that. Unfortunately, the output from Jenkins doesn't lend itself very well, I don't think anyway, to talks, presentations, etc., because it's like light, well, sort of greyish on a white background. I don't think it shows up very well. So what that's done is internalized that package. You can see that's all worked, and it's pushed it, as you can see here, to the test repository. Okay, so test pack, and it's triggered off the job, test the package, and push it to production. So let's go and have a look at that one. So there, that's running just now. So what it's doing is it has got that package. It's tested some of it. So it's a valid nupkeg. It's only got 1 NewSpec file. It's a valid NewSpec file. And it's now installed the package without error in 14 seconds. And it should then uninstall it. And there we go. So it's uninstalled it as well in 9 seconds. And then it's pushed it to production. Okay, and we'll go back into our code and have a look here. Open SSH, that's the correct version. Now bear in mind we've done that earlier. Up here there was no packages found. Okay, so that's been pushed. That's a test repository. This is production, and it's been pushed to that as well. So what we've done there is we've internalized a package, pushed it to the test repository. The test repository has then Jenkins has then noticed that it's tested the package in from the test repository, and it's then, because the test is passed, pushed it to production. And what would happen from there is your nodes would then be able to pull that, using Chocolatey, and upgrade their version of OpenSSH, or install it in this case. So the app team, or the dev team, sorry, has come up with a new app, and they have called it, as some people may not be surprised to hear, they've called it Daisy. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of mimic a very, very simple build script, okay? And I'm going to just show you the build script. So imagine this is way more complicated. It builds a huge application, and at the end, what it does is it creates a Chocolatey package as well. But what we're actually doing here is it's just removing any nupkeg that's there from a previous demo. It's going to make sure it's there. It's going to push it. It's going to just pack it, first of all, sorry. And all it's got is a dummy Chocolatey install, hello from Daisy, and a really, really basic NewSpec file. So the important bit here is the fact it's a package, and we can see going through the pipeline. So let's run that. Oh, and one bit I didn't say, as part of the build, what the dev team have also done is they're kicking off the Jenkins job to test the package and push it to production. So they're actually going to push it to test, and then they're going to trigger, through a webhook, they're going to trigger Jenkins to be able to test that and then push it to production. Okay, and we'll see that job get kicked off. So I'm just going to run that build script. And there you go, there's the webhook being created. And if we quickly go into Jenkins, there's the job they're running. So what this will shows you is that, you know, you don't have to start pushing things manually. You don't have to run the jobs manually from a build. And that could be a build that your devs have done. It could be a build that you're doing. Some infrastructure as code stuff, to deploying it to maybe AWS or somewhere else. All of this can be kicked off automatically without you getting involved. And there you go, it's done. Okay, so it's tested the Daisy package. It's a very simple package, and it's pushed it to production. And we'll go and see the results of that here. There you go, Daisy version 1, that's test, and here's production. And there you go. And we didn't do anything other than automate the bit. Well, we kicked the build off. That would obviously all be automated for you. So the final demo we've got here is that PuTTY has a security vulnerability. Okay, I know it's hard to believe considering it's very old, but it does. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up quickly, pretending that we have an older version in our repository. Okay. And I'm going to put version 0.70, and I'm going to push it up to production and test. So that's already there. Smoke and mirrors, you're not seeing anything moving here. And I'm just going to show you that those packages are there. So Putty's there, version 0.70, and as is it's on production as well. Okay. So we're going to update the app by running, or update the package, sorry, not the app, by running the upgrade outdated packages in the test repository. What this does is it will compare what's in your test repository with what is in the, well, in this case, chocolatey.org. And it will see if there's any updated packages. So what it's saying there is there's 3 packages in there. OpenSSH is up to date. Daisy doesn't exist in it, so it can't, that's fine. But it's saying, oh, there's a remote version of 0.73 in chocolatey.org. I'm going to bring that down and I'm going to push it to the test repository. And then I'm going to trigger this job, which will test the package and push it to production repository. So again, it's checked that it's an upkeg, it's only one new spec, it's valid new spec. It's installed the package without error. And then it's uninstalled it without error. No fails, all tests have passed. It's then pushed it to production. And we'll go and see the result of that here. So this is the test repository. And it'll show you both versions in there. So we've got the old version and we've got the new one as well. And there we go, it's in production as well. And now it's in production, your end nodes can actually pull that package down and install it. So I'm actually going to skip quite quickly through this code. That was the code that was in the Jenkins jobs. Now, as I said, you can, that'll actually be part of the code that's available after this. So suggested improvements. You'd probably want to schedule that updating packages from a Chocolatey community repository Jenkins job, the one we just did at the end there, because you wouldn't want to kick it manually off because you'll forget. We're all human beings. So you probably, I would say you would schedule that once a day maybe, or once a week. Depends how often you want your packages updated. You want to obviously write your own Pester tests, as I've already said. Really important that those Pester tests meet what you need in your organization and not just install and uninstall on the Jenkins machine. Never a good idea, but a good idea for a demo. And when packages are published to the production repository, send a notification via email, Slack, Teams, Gitter, whatever it is that you guys use. You know, just let the team know, hey, new version of this package. So in summary, we know what a chocolate package is, we know what Chocolatey is, and we know how sources work. We understand, hopefully, what package internalization does, why it's important for organizations, and also why that you don't use the Chocolatey community repository within organizations as well. How to apply automation to your Chocolatey package testing and deployment. As I said, I've got a version of this talk that we use. I've used it, the machine in Azure, connects via WinRM. It'll install and uninstall a package in Azure and use Azure DevOps artifacts feeds as well. So, you don't need to use it with just a local VM, for example. You can use a cloud machine, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So if there's any questions, I see there's no questions in the question channel thing. I'm now going to check the chat on Twitch to see if there's any. We do offer free trials. As I mentioned, the quick deployment environment allows you to stand all of this stuff up in a virtual machine. So you just get the virtual machine. It's a virtual appliance. You get the appliance and you can then get that up and running in 2 hours. You'll have the repository, Jenkins, you'll have all the bits and pieces to do this. This code as well is also available on the Chocolatey website on the chocolatey.org/docs, I think. And apparently my accent is just the icing. Thank you. I was trying not to speak too fast. Scottish people tend to speak incredibly fast. Could you talk about Chocolatey Intune deployment? We're literally running out of time to talk about Chocolatey Intune. I believe Chocolatey will integrate with Intune, though I can tell you that for a fact. I think the previous version of Intune only used like batch files, those kind of the old-fashioned batch file type stuff. But the new one, the new version of Intune will use PowerShell. Adil is much more clued up on Intune than I am. Say nupkeg. No, I'm going to say new package because Rob gets upset when you say nupkeg, although that's what I actually call it. And there you go. Dale's actually posted a link in the chat there for Revelation. Is it Revelation? No, Lifil 0. Dale's posted a link for that. So there you go. And I am 5 seconds over. So if there's no more questions, there is all my details. Oh, I'll put the full screen on, otherwise it breaks all out. At the bottom is the link actually to all the code, etc., and the slides will be on my website at some point, hopefully tomorrow as well. As I said, I had to write all the code for this again this morning, so it'll take a little bit of time, but it'll be up on GitHub, and that's where that bottom link links to. And that's me. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it.